This is Fury with Fury's Insanity, signing in with another video, and today I'm talking about Dying Light 2. Let's get into this. Alright, before we start this video, just a quick word from our sponsor, your mom. Alright, but if my voice sounds a little bit weird, my allergies are acting up today, so I apologize for that. And a quick warning, there will be spoilers for this video. And all of this gameplay is after I've completed the main story, so I'm going to have a lot of abilities you're not going to have, a lot of equipment you're not going to have at the start of the game. And this is going to be a pretty much an overall review of Dying Light 2, so I hope you guys enjoy. You see that crazy stuff. I'm also streaming to my computer, so the quality might not be the highest. I'm not used to doing this yet, so I've got to play with the settings a little bit. Alright! First and foremost, guys, I would like to say I really like this game. I think this game is absolutely beautiful. It is definitely high-grade quality. NPCs sometimes look a little cheesy, but overall the environment is very detailed. It's beautiful. Has a lot more color and depth than the first game, for sure. As you can see, this world is way bigger than the first game. They said it's 4 times bigger, and I would say probably it definitely feels like it's separated into zones, so it's kind of hard to tell. One thing about UI systems, a little slow sometimes, but this is the world map that you get to explore. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 11 different sections of the map that you can explore. I think there's some stuff out here. I think that was just story right there. But there's a bunch of different sections that you can explore and do stuff in. There's plenty of different tasks for you to do, boss fights, and hidden areas for you to explore, just like in the first game. But this game is definitely very different than the first. In my opinion, it's a little bit harder. I wouldn't necessarily say artificially, but a lot of the difficulty comes from the fact that you start off a lot slower than the first game. You don't start off with all the same abilities you do as Kyle Crane in the first game. You have to earn all of them over time. So pretty much you start off with the bare minimum parkour skills, jumping and climbing and running. You can't slide, you can't drop kick, you can't wall run, stuff like that. But I think it does a good job at introducing you to the world and letting you increase your skills over time, so that by the point that you get those abilities, you're not completely relying on them like you might have in the first game. Like something as simple as a slide, not having it might seem weird at first, but once you actually get it, you're going to be a lot more proficient, in my opinion. Well, that's just my opinion. But like I said, this game is beautiful. It is massive. It's highly detailed. You'll see shit all over the place that you're just like, wow, they really took their time and they did their best with this. It's still cheesy like the first game. The story is pretty solid. The characters are pretty cool. But you're definitely not playing it solely for the story experience. It's going to be cheesy. There's going to be things that happen. You're like, oh, that feels like plot convenience. But of course, that's how all video games are going to be. That's how all stories are. That's how these new Marvel movies are. Even though they might be great, the story's not 100% all the time. But particularly in the story aspect, I'll try not to say too much. I don't want to be too spoilery. Because I do recommend playing this yourself. But I will say that I'd give it probably 7.5 out of 10. It was pretty solid. I definitely enjoyed it. I liked most of the characters. And I've still got a few of the side quests to do to figure out what happened to some of the characters, so I'm excited to do that. I think overall for the combat loop, it's pretty fun. It's a little bit different. I think relying on dodging and blocking can be a little aggravating because I don't necessarily think it's super tuned right now. After probably 30 plus hours of playing this game, I still don't really feel like I have the combat loop down. I'm not good at dodging, I'm not good at blocking, and no matter what I really try to do, it doesn't feel like I'm ever going to get to that point. I don't know if that's intentional or if I'm not doing it right, but it doesn't bother me a whole lot. It's just something I thought I'd mention and, you know, get opinions on if anybody else is dealing with that. Spider-Man. I'll probably kill this boss in a minute. Another thing I'd like to touch on is the upgrade system, the progression system in this game. It's not bad. For the most part, I think it's pretty cool. It's inventive. Upgrading your health and stamina is what you do overall, collecting these inhibitors. Pretty much, you can think of them as skill points. And every time you collect 3, you can upgrade your health or your stamina. Obviously, I did my stamina. I feel like that's the better choice because you can get to places easier. You don't fall as easily. And fighting in combat, having more stamina means you can fight for a longer time without having to back off. Because early game, I got killed a lot just because I ran out of stamina and I couldn't get away. Now, I feel like it's not necessarily a downgrade from the first game with these skill trees, but the way the game works in Dying Light 2, I really feel like it would have benefited from a third skill tree, like Survivor, or maybe call it Scavenger skill tree. Something that upgrades your crafting, your scavenging, your lock picking, your Survivor sense, stuff like that, allowing you to sense things better, understand things better, know which path to take better, stuff like that. I feel like that would have been really cool, because I felt like a lot of the abilities you got in the first game allowed you to do that. Focus on subjects that were slightly out of the range of just, you know, parkour skills or fighting skills. And obviously that's all the combat points focus on is combat, and all the parkour points only focus on combat. There's no legend tree yet. I'm pretty sure there will be. You know, we don't know what they're adding later. That's just an opinion of mine. Something I hope that they do add in the future is a little bit more of a progression. You know, I do have several abilities to still unlock, so I think I'll probably be able to progress. I think you can get up to level 9, maybe. So every 6 skill points you get, you level up. And then when you level up, enemies that you kill or loot that you scavenge will be typically to the same level at which you are at, especially post-game. It tells you that once you complete the game, which is cool. So I can still get better equipment for the future, you know, grind it out a little bit, unlock all of these skills. But at this point, most of these skills I'm not interested in. With the combat loop, they're not necessarily stuff that I'm going to use. Most of these skills I don't use anyway, just because they're a little convoluted. And not necessarily super easy to use. So that's just something I would talk about. I think the progression system overall is probably a 7 out of 10. It's very concise. It's very simple. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It doesn't necessarily hurt it, but it doesn't help it either. It's not a perfect progression system, but it works. It does the job it's supposed to do, and I can definitely appreciate that. So you have a pretty simple story. You have a pretty simple combat system. You have a pretty simple progression system. So what does all this mean? Alright, well, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Like I said, I've thoroughly enjoyed this. Oh shit. I've thoroughly enjoyed this game. Because one thing that I've noticed with this is it's actually a finished product. This is the first game I've seen in probably a couple years that's actually felt like a finished game. I've enjoyed it. I've been satisfied with this game. I feel like I've actually got my money's worth because I did purchase this game. This game's not on Game Pass. So, off the rip, $60 purchase, I think absolutely it is worth $60. And I'm very satisfied to say that. You know, I talked about the story, I talked about the combat, I talked about the progression system, and I talked about the map. Honestly, I love this map. I loved the world of the first Dying Light, but one thing I definitely said, one of my concerns about it was the color palette was all the same. There was very little to offer when it came to what the world looked like. It was a lot of grays, a lot of yellows, a lot of browns. You know, the setting, it made sense. You know, there was a couple watery areas, swampy areas. There was a couple like mountainy areas with a little splash of green, and you know you have the following DLC, but that doesn't count. You know, we're taking this a bare minimum base game, but this right here, it has a little bit of everything. It has a little bit of a deserty area, has some foresty areas, lots of city, lots of suburban, and lots of colors. Like there was no point in this game other than, you know, being stuck in a building that's very similar to another building you've been in, because that's going to happen in worlds this big. Other than that, nothing really feels the same. Nothing is boring to look at. I always feel like I'm exploring, even when I'm going somewhere I've been before. Every time I end up seeing something I didn't see before, and it's incredible. It's great. I love just walking around in the world, just like the first game. One of the best parts is the fact you can hop on and you can just explore. You can run around. You can look at things you've already seen before and enjoy it. And I feel like that is an even bigger part of this game. So, I love it. Overall, I give this game an easy 8 out of 10. You know, I think there's things they can work on, but there's nothing that I hated about it. You know, everything was good. Everything was simple. Everything was exactly what it needed to be. There was no extra fat. There was no tedious. There was no, oh God, I have to do this again. Like, the story was long. The story was good. It was, for the most part, compelling. There was definitely a few moments, like I said, I don't want to spoil it. That's why I'm trying to avoid talking about it too much. But there was definitely some moments that get you really, really hyped up. You're like, let's fucking go. Let's get this done. I'm ready. A couple of those moments fell a little bit short in comparison to what I think should have been happening, because, you know, it's super exciting, and, you know, if it ends up not being as big as it hyped you up to be, that can be a little sad. But for the most part, that wasn't a big issue, honestly. I think it was overall pretty fun, and I'm definitely going to keep playing it. I definitely enjoy playing it now. You know, I've finished the game, and I'm obviously playing it. You know, I am doing a review on it. But even if I wasn't doing a review on it right now, I'd still play it some more. I want to play with my friends. I want to teach my friends some tips and tricks. And I'll probably throw a couple of those at y'all before I finish this video. I definitely want to know what you guys think. I get knocked down a lot. I'm not too self-aware when it comes to dodging, like I said. Oop, finally killed him. These the goons aren't too difficult. They're very similar to the first game. One thing I will touch on that, you know, with that little boss right there. One thing I was really excited. This is one of the only things I was actually disappointed about. Ooh. I'm surprised I survived that. One of the things I was actually disappointed about was the fact that I had thought I heard them say there was going to be a bunch of new enemy types. And as far as I know, other than bosses, there are no new enemy types. I feel like a lot of the enemy types have been dumbed down a little bit. You know, honed. They've kind of upgraded them a little bit, but they're still kind of simple. None of the enemy types have really had massive upgrades. I feel like they more or less honed them in and made them more precise, made the purpose that they play in the game more consistent, and I get that. One thing I would like to say is I'm very excited for the post-launch content. I think that Techland is definitely going to support this game. They did with the first Dying Light, and they upgraded the absolute hell out of Dying Light 1. I feel like it definitely did it a lot of justice. It did a lot of good for the game. It kept it alive, kept the player base flourishing. It upgraded and fixed what needed to be upgraded and fixed. And I think they're going to do the exact same thing for this game. So I'm very excited for that. I'm looking forward to what they can do to this game, what they can do to make it better. But like I said, as a standalone game, my $60, I feel fully satisfied. I did take my time, but I'm not a completionist when it comes to games like these. So I'd say I probably put close to 25, 30 hours into this game before I completed the story. And I played through the story pretty consistently. So I feel like a minimum playthrough for this game is probably close to 15 hours. If you cut all of the fat out and you don't want to get any of the extra upgrades or explore any of the extra areas or fight any of the bandit camps and stuff, if you do the bare minimum, I think it's probably a good close to 15 hours. And there's a lot of stuff I have not done. I'd say easily there's another 15, 20 hours of good content, not including all of the just extra fat, completionist, ending storylines and stuff like that, which I'm not really about. I would, instead of replaying the whole game over, I would rather just look it up online and see all the alternate endings. Other than that, guys, I would love to hear your thoughts. If you guys haven't picked up this game and do, I'd love to hear what you guys think if you pick it up or consider picking it up because of me. I'd love to hear what you think. Or if you've already played it, I would love to hear your opinions. I'd love to know what you think, if you were satisfied with it, what you think they can improve, and if you're looking forward to the post-launch content like me. Also, tell me any other games you want me to check out. I haven't made videos like this in a while. Like I said, I don't have my video editing software. I don't have Premiere anymore, so this is going to kind of be like a one-take video. It's not my standard format, but I'm in the process of trying to figure out what video softwares I want to use now. So hopefully my videos will go back to the way they used to before. But as you guys know, please like, subscribe, and comment if you guys like the video, if you want to support the channel. I really appreciate everybody that watches this, and also feel free to let me know how I can improve, how you would prefer me to upgrade my videos in the future. But without further ado, this is Fury with Theories Insanity. I will catch you in the next video.